What's up, guys? It's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we just got some new Solfachord cards. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell there so you can come for a notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out these new Solfachord cards. So these cards are actually going to release in Doom of Dimension, which is really an insane set because we're getting all sorts of insane support for DDD, now Solfachord, and even a new MST archetype. But let's go ahead and see what these Solfachord cards actually do. So first off, we do have a new main deck monster, and this is actually really cool where they're learning the music, which is basically what the entire archetype is based around. But this card is called Solfachord Solfregia, and this card is a level 2 light fairy pendulum effect monster with 400 attack and 400 defense points with a scale of 9, which is a very high scale to be able to use in this particular deck because the boss monster of this archetype is actually a level 8, making it super easy to be able to pendulum summon anything in the entire archetype now. So this card has the pendulum effect that you can only use the pendulum effect of this card's name once per turn. For the first effect, when a monster effect is activated by your opponent on the field resolves, if you control a Grand Solfachord monster, you can negate that effect and destroy this card. Now that's really cool that we now have a way to negate, and it's a really awesome thing that it's actually a scale that can negate, that can just pop itself, put itself into the action deck, and then we can pendulum summon it out later, which is actually really neat. But this card is actually amazing, and now going to be a part of the inboards of this archetype, which is so cool. So we also have for the monster effect, you can only use the first and second effect of this monster's effect name once per turn. For the first effect, if you control no monsters or all monsters you control are Solfachord monsters, you can special summon this card in your hand. Now this is something that the archetype has desperately needed for a while. It really needed a good extender, and this is actually great. Tobas basically link summon into the Link 2, which is actually really nice. So we can start getting some Link arrows to be able to go into our plays, but the Pendulum effect is just absolutely insane. So you kind of don't want to give up that Pendulum effect, but it's such a good ability to be able to use, just to be able to special summon this card out to your side of the field, go into the Link 2, and then Pendulum summon it back out to your side of the field, which is pretty good. For the second effect, when you activate this card effect, you can also tribute this card, and during your main phase, you can special summon one Solfachord monster from your hand, except a copy of this card, or if you tributed this card at activation, you can special summon that monster from the grave, or face up extract instead. Now that's a pretty cool ability to be able to use, just to instantly bring out the exact monster you need, because you can just tribute this card and then special summon any Solfachord you want from your hand, or you can just summon it from the graveyard or face up from the extract, getting the exact monster you need out on your side of the field. This card is instantaneously a 3M for its scales alone, but it being a negate is just absolutely amazing. Plus it having that ability to summon out any Solfachord that you need is just really, really insane, and I absolutely love this card for the archetype. It's actually really good, and I really like this card. Now we do have another main deck monster. This card is called Solfachord Primora, and this card is a level 1 Earth Fairy Pendulum Effect monster, and it looks so awesome. But something to note is all the other Solfachord monsters actually have a small version of themselves, like a fairy that follows them around, but this one actually doesn't, which is really interesting, something that I did notice about the artwork of this card, and that's actually really interesting about this. But overall it is a scale 0, which is super interesting. So this card is a level 1 fairy monster, and its pendulum scale is actually 0, which is very cool about this, making it super easy to be able to pendulum something, because now we have a scale 9 and we have a scale 0, which is very cool. So for the pendulum effect, when you pendulum summon a monster, you can target a Solfachord card in your other pendulum zone and return it back to the hand. Okay, so that actually fixes a little bit of some of the effects that you place them in the pendulum zone and they get locked into that basically zone. So you can just bounce them back and summon them out if you need to, which is pretty good, and I like that ability. Now for the monster effect, you can only activate the first and third effects of this card's name once per turn. For the first effect, if this card is normally special summoned, add a Solfachord card from your deck to your hand, except a copy of this card. This card is instantaneous to 3 of. It's a Stratos for the deck. That's amazing that we now have a really good Stratos that's a scale 0 that we can summon in this build to be able to just instantly bring out the exact cards we need. For the second effect, your activated Solfachord cards cannot be negated while you have a Solfachord card with an even and odd Pendulum scale in your Pendulum zone. Now that's a pretty cool ability as well, just to protect your cards from being hit by hand traps. That's actually really insane, as I've noticed that a lot recently, that even with the new Dark Magician trap, we're getting ways to actually negate hand traps in Archetype. Even the DDD monsters now have a in Archetype negate for hand traps, which is really neat. So this basically makes so your opponent cannot negate your cards, making them almost like Speed Spell 4, which is a little bit broken, but overall a really insane ability for this card to have. And for the third effect, if you link summon a Solfachord monster, you can add a Solfachord card from your graveyard or face up extract to your hand. That's a pretty cool ability just to be able to recover your Solfachord cards. I don't see them going to the graveyard very much, but you can just add them from face up extract to your hand, so you can basically summon them out again later without using one of your extra monster zones or the link arrows to be able to just instantly bring out your card to your side of the field, which is a pretty cool ability. But overall, this card is amazing, and I do love that it actually means first note, which is actually a pretty cool thing about this card, because this is now going to be like the first card you're going to summon, because it does have that ability that it's basically the Stratos of the deck, letting you add the exact Solfachord card you need from your deck to your hand, which is awesome. This is actually a really good effect, and something the actual archetype really needed. We now have an extender, and we have a way to search out any Solfachord card that we need. Just any card is insane. Now we do have a new spell card, and I believe this is actually from the Animation Chronicles, because they were actually shown, I believe, kind of sort of like this on the Animation Chronicles, which is really cool, where you can see a bunch of them in the artwork, which is just really, really neat. But this card is a new spell card that's called Solfachord Happiness. And this card is a normal spell card that the first effect is activate one of these effects, but you can only use each effect of this card's name once per turn. Discard a card, and if you do, add 2 Solfachord Pendulum monsters with different Pendulum scales from your deck to your hand. Then you can special summon Solfachord Pendulum monsters from your hand up to the number of monsters your opponent controls plus 100, or plus 1. What? That is insane. Okay, so we just have the ability to just swarm the board with our Solfachord cards, and the previous monster, Primora, can search this because it can search any Solfachord card, and that's just the first effect of this thing. That is crazy powerful, just to be able to discard any card from your hand, and then add any 2 Pendulum monsters with different Pendulum scales from your deck to your hand, then special summon Solfachord Pendulum monsters from your hand up to the number of monsters your opponent controls plus 1. That is kind of sort of like an E-Telly and Rhoda all wrapped into one. This card is instantaneously a 3 of in the deck, and absolutely crazy to be able to use, because it's going to give you the ability just to instantly turbo out your Solfachord monsters to your side of the field. That's really good. And plus, if your opponent has a full board and you're going second, you can easily swarm the board with a bunch of Solfachord monsters to your side of the field, which is actually a really cool ability for this card to have, just to instantly bring out a bunch of cards to your side of the field, while also adding your scales. Even if this card just grabbed your scales, this card is basically Pendulum Call, and then it also summons out monsters. That's really, really good. And also it has 2 other abilities that during your main phase, this turn, you can conduct 1 Pendulum Summon of Solfachord monsters in addition to your Pendulum Summon. Are you kidding me? This archetype gets a double Pendulum Summon. That's so good. Wow. This archetype now has a double Pendulum Summon and a Pendulum Call all wrapped into one broken card. This card is so good for the archetype and is instantaneously a 3 of in this deck. Or special summon 2 Solfachord cards from your Pendulum Zone. You just move them forward. That's really good. You just instantly move both of your Solfachord cards forward from the Pendulum Zone, which is actually really insane too. This card has 3 broken abilities. You didn't even have to give it 3 effects. You could have just given it this effect and you would have been fine. But being able to just conduct a second Pendulum Summon is really insane, as you can actually play with this card a little bit strategically. But I feel like being able to get that search is going to be the main effect we're going to be using on this, because being able to get that second, being able to add 2 to hand is just so broken. By just discarding any card that we don't want in our hand, we can just instantly grab it. Plus, our other cards can recover cards out of the graveyard, which is really good. But this card is going to see a lot of play, and actually what's funny about all 3 of these cards is there's 3 new cards for this archetype, and all three of them are 3-ofs. This card is amazing because it's actually a negate when it's in the Pendulum scale, plus it's a scale 9, which is amazing for this archetype. We have a scale 0 and a Stratos all built into one, and plus the previous card is actually an extender, so you can just lay it in your Pendulum scale just to block your opponent, and you have the ability to be able to special summon it as well, which is pretty good. So if you have like 2 of them, you can do that, which is insane. And then you have the new Promora that has the ability to be able to just search any Solfachord card you want from your deck to your hand, which makes Happiness a 6-of in the deck, which is crazy. To be able to just instantly grab the exact thing you need by discarding a card, you can just add those 2 Solfachord monsters from your deck to your hand, and then special summon monsters to your side of the field, or it just grabs your scales. Like, it gives you a free special summon, grabs your scales, or gives you a second Pendulum summon, or just bumps your scales forward. This is insane. This is really good support. Do I think it's going to make it tier 0? No. Do I think it's going to make it tier 1? Maybe not, but it's going to be good. It's good support. It's really good support, and it's a great step in the right direction for this archetype to actually give it some really insane support to just get more monsters out on the field faster, so we can go in for our copy of Kulia even faster in this particular archetype, and it's really good. It makes it actually easy to make the Link 3 now, which is really nice. So overall, great support. All 3 of them are 3-ofs. Great way to go ahead and give us some Pendulum support. I really like these. So that's gonna do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely comment down below what you guys think of these cards. I think they're all amazing. I think it's crazy that now they actually have a monster negate, which is really good, in the form of our new scale 9, which is just really good to be able to just stop your opponent if you control a Grand Solfachord monster. You can just negate something, which is really good. It does destroy itself, but that's fine. We can easily recover it. And then just giving us a second Pendulum summon is just so good. But this card in any other archetype in Pendulum Magicians would be banned. This card would be banned. So that's gonna do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell next thing, come for a notification squad, and definitely tell me what you guys think of these cards down in the comments down below. We'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.